Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Lots to talk about, plus a very exciting update that's just come in, which fits perfectly with what I said to you this morning. So, we're going to be talking about the right back from Leipzig. More stories around him coming to Manchester United. His name is MUKIELE. I think that's how you pronounce it. I did write it down. MUKIELE. It's French. MUKIELE. That's Italian. MUKIELE. Nordi MUKIELE. We'll be talking about him. BISSOUMA from Brighton. We've got an update on him. We'll also be talking about Christian Eriksen and United's pursuit of him. And then a bit of breaking news around Conrad Lemar and a bit of positive news around him and Manchester United, which is great because I said to you this morning I'm going to sort of deep dive into Leimer and compare him to Fred and Pogba and just see what he would bring to this midfield if we were looking at him as well. A few other bits to talk about. Loads. It sort of caught me on the hop. Welcome to the Members Club, Paul. Thank you very much. And we had some gifted subs given out this morning. I'm going to give out 10 on this show. Woo! Anyway, before we do that, we're sponsored by Manscaped. We love to be sponsored by Manscaped. The summer is approaching. You want things to look better, lighter and bigger, and Manscaped is trusted by over 4 million men worldwide with their family jewels. Manscaped, absolutely fantastic. And what is it I like to say? I know what it is. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. In the summer, you want some cold beers and barbecues, not kill the vibes. I'm not going to read that bit. That's disgusting. I'm not using the word pubes. I'm not using that. I draw the line at that. Manscaped has the Performance Package 4.0 to keep the party in your pants looking crisp and refreshing all summer long. Dive headfirst into the summer by joining 4 million men worldwide. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to prepare for that summer body. Inside the package, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 Weed Whacker Ear, Nose and Trimmer. That's this. This is the Lawnmower 4.0. It's got your light on it for a more precise shave. It's got adjustable lengths as well. It's got a travel lock. It's got wireless battery charging. That was it. And the lawnmower has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multifunctional on and off switch, which I've said. And Manscaped have even thrown in 2 free gifts to their promotional package 4.0. The Manscaped boxers and the travel bag that will bring you comfort to another level. Because Manscaped care about everyone that watches the United Stand, they're giving a huge 20% off plus free shipping when you use the code United Stand at checkout. So what are you waiting for? Head over to manscaped.com or click the link in the description. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. The summer is coming, and if I had my phone to hand, which I do, you can hold your phone with your camera up to the QR code and it will take you directly to the website where you can get 20% off and free shipping. So check them out. Really good quality products. Manscaped there. Who farted on last night's show? This is the financial statement. I wasn't on last night's show, so I don't even know if this Fartgate thing is true or false. I've got no idea. Anyway, let's get into more important news. Not who farted out on the fan forum last night, but who is coming to Manchester United this summer. Welcome to the Members Club, Shriham and King Nando as well. If you are a member, please don't forget to check out the community tab because you can vote on this week's video. But I am going to give you a little bit of glimpse of what we do on a lot of our members' exclusive videos by deep diving into Leimer and what he would bring and comparing him to Fred and Pogba in a few minutes' time. But let's hit the headlines. So, 3 players to start talking about. I suppose 4 as well. Eriksen we'll touch on. MUKIELE, we'll talk about him. We're also going to talk about BISSOUMA and Conrad Lemar. Now, if you're not aware of the latest on Conrad Lemar, this is coming from Sport Bild, so it's coming from Germany. Conrad Lemar is currently exploring inquiries from Manchester United and Bayern Munich. That's literally come out quite recently, and it is coming from a German outlet, which is good news. I wish I knew what good was in German. This is great news. That's not German because he plays in Germany for RB Leipzig. So when you get a German outlet talking about a player, maybe Man United, look. Manchester United may well be being thrown into this for any number of reasons. Like we always get thrown into stuff. Got a really big update on BISSOUMA as well as to why I don't think United are looking at him. Ivan says, I thought you'd left the United Stand. I don't know where this is all coming from. I've got an announcement on Friday morning. You're just going to have to wait till that. Bayern wants Leimer, says Brutus. There's an echo in the show today. What did I say, Brutus? Sport Bild say that Leimer is exploring options from Manchester United and Bayern Munich. Brutus comes in the chat. Bayern want Leimer. 2 plus 2 is Matic. Brutus would get that wrong. Anyway, let's go into it. I'm going to start off with... I don't know where to start. I'm so excited. I've got 4 here. Got a foursome on the go. So we'll start off with... Let's start off with Nordi MUKIELE, because this is a player that has had a lot of stories around Manchester United, and it's a right back, and I think some of us want a full back. You know what? You don't have to always, I'm a firm believer in this, that you don't, if you've got 4 good options, you don't always have to eat the good one first. I'm talking about food, I'm hungry, but we're going to get through them all on this show. We're going to get through them all on this show anyway. So we'll start off with MUKIELE. I think the BISSOUMA update's exciting, so's Leimer, but we'll talk about MUKIELE first. Nordi MUKIELE, a couple of years ago, Manchester United was sort of linked to him. RB Leipzig, he's 24 now. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's 6'2", and he's French. He drives an Audi driver. I don't know whether he drives an Audi, but he is a player that's been linked to Manchester United. Now, I'm convinced we're going to buy a player from Leipzig, but I'm going to be controversial here because I'm not just going to do this. I've told you this so many times. I am not going to jump on every transfer and go, yeah, go get him. He's better than what we've got. This won't work. We've been doing this for 9 years. Buying players. Oh, yeah. I've done it. I've done the videos on this channel. You can go and check them. Sanchez, what a signing up. Oh, swivel on it, Arsenal. We've took your best player. A few months later, you're like, oh, my God. Welcome to Members Club, Vanny. Di Maria. Sit down and cry, everyone. We've got Di Maria. Doesn't even want to be here. Leaves in a year. So I'm going to analyse every transfer and look at the pros and the cons. And with MUKIELE, I'm going to say from the off, I don't like this deal. I don't like this deal at all. Doesn't mean we're not going to do it. Sounds like a lady of the night, says Graham. MUKIELE. Yeah, I see what you mean. Well done. Well done, Graham. Banter's okay. So I think that this MUKIELE deal, if it happens, isn't a good deal. Now, this will be contradictory to what a lot of fans are saying today. They're saying, he's better than Wan-Bissaka. He's better than Dalot, who's only got 1 year left on his contract. They'll let us have him for about 10 million euro. Tick, tick, tick. You're probably right. Full marks. A star. But what does that mean? What does that mean? He's better than Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. He's cheap. Oh, good. There's probably 20 fullbacks in the Premier League. There might be some in the Champion. Well, there is. There's one in the Championship who I'd go for over anybody at the moment. His name's DJ Spence. But Mark, will the youth final be free to air tonight? Says the Honest Tiger. I'll talk about that in a bit because we are doing a watch along for the Youth Cup. Make sure you tune in tonight because we'll also be updating with the Ajax score as well while that's going on. So, right, why don't I want MUKIELE? Well, all I think is of the lady of the night now. The reason I don't want him is because Leipzig are in no rush to give him a new contract. This is coming from a German outlet. They're not in a rush to give him a new contract, so he can run his contract down until next summer, or he can go for about 10 million euro. That doesn't strike me as a player that is the solution to Manchester United's fullback situation. Now, if we buy him, I'll back him, and maybe he's got gears to go up, and maybe he comes to United and he gets better. But there's a massive element of risk for me. If you know anything about MUKIELE's game, and I'm not going to pretend that I've watched loads of Leipzig this season. I haven't. I even tweeted that earlier. But over the last few years I have, especially probably last year and the year before, he can play centre-back. He can almost play midfield, really. But he's like Wan-Bissaka in that he's not very good going forward. He's a better passer of the ball, and he's quick, and he's a good defender. But he's not good going forward. And if we're looking for an attacking fullback, which I think we are, then he is not it. And therefore, by definition, we are making do again. Just because somebody's better than Wan-Bissaka or Dalot is not the dream ticket for United. We need somebody that is a modern fullback. Now, you're not going to get Trent Alexander-Arnold. You're not going to get Reece James. You're not going to get Hakimi or someone like that. But there are players out there that could be the next one of those. And I like Spence. And to be honest with you, if you're asking me, do I want to spend 10, 15 million euros on MUKIELE, or do I want to spend 15, 20 million pounds on Spence? I'll go for Spence because he is an attacking fullback. He is a modern fullback and he would fit Manchester United really, really well. So look, I'm not dismissing the MUKIELE stories. They're clearly there. There's clearly a deal to be done, and there's clearly a cheap deal to be done, and the Rangnick connections with Leipzig are interesting, and we may well sign him, and if we do sign him, then I'll certainly back him, but I'm going to say, for me, that is not a deal that massively excites me, in the sense that I don't think it's the right deal to do, but what do I know? Ranick's going to say, Lemar, if you want to play World Cup, you should join United, says Jay. MUKIELE is as clunky as Wan-Bissaka, awful passers, gets dribbled past more often than not, and statistically the most error-prone fullback in Europe. And that's Duncan, who probably knows more than I know this season. Dame James Ducker, he's not a Dame. James Ducker has reported we met Dembele's agent over the weekend and he's willing to join. Any truth, says James English. I haven't seen that. I'd have to have a quick look at it, see if I can find any truth in that. I mean, I presume we're talking about Ousmane Dembele for this one, but I don't 100% know about that. I haven't seen anything about it. I mean, normally somebody would have told me about that. So look, Ousmane Dembele is free this summer. I wouldn't have took him a year ago. I wouldn't have took him when we were looking at him instead of Sancho. But it's a different time for Manchester United now. I don't think Dembele had come anywhere near Manchester United anyway, to be honest with you. That's what I would say. But if he wanted to come and he came for free, I suppose you'd be paying him silly wages again. I mean, look, I don't know whether there's any truth in that. Probably a load of nonsense. But Ousmane Dembele is a player that's been linked to us in the past. I don't think it's the right deal. I still think he's very injury prone and also be very expensive. A lot of people won't agree, but I think if Eric Bailly wasn't injury prone, he would be one of the top centre backs as Ray. But he's not been injury prone this season and he's not played Ray. So, you know, Mark, when's Twitch back? 3 o'clock today, Mohammed. Thank you for the shout out. You know, it's almost like we're working in tandem there. I like it. I like it when the community are working me into the topics I need to discuss without me having to think about them. So MUKIELE, forget about it as far as I'm concerned. It could happen. Spence had attitude problems at Borough. I'm not sold, says Kaylin. Well, I know a little bit more about that than I can actually say, and no, he's a good lad and I think he'd be a really good signing for United, so we're not attaching bad attitude problems to Spence. He's absolutely fine and he'd be a very good acquisition for Manchester United. Right, let's talk about, I want to talk about Leimer, but I want to go in depth with Leimer because I'd always said I was going to do that. I want to talk to you about BISSOUMA, and I'm going to give you some information now that nobody really has mentioned. I like to dive deep into things, as you know. We don't always get the credit we deserve on here because people think it's something that it isn't and they don't watch it and therefore they just lie about it. But as you know, when it comes to transfers, it's something I'm passionate about, something the community's passionate about, and I don't just read the back of the Sun and go, oh, that's going to happen. I'll make a phone call, I'll send a WhatsApp, I'll do some research. So BISSOUMA's a player that's really interested me, and I probably haven't had the time until this week to really go and make a few phone calls and do a bit of research. And I cannot understand for the life of me why BISSOUMA is not a target for Manchester United. Every time he plays us, he's the best midfielder on the pitch. And Brighton will look to sell for about £40 million. He's the right age profile, he's Premier League proven, and he's playing in the position we need, midfield. So why would, and he played us at the weekend and played us off the park. So why would United not be going, that might be someone we should look at? And they're not. Now, there are some stories over the last couple of days that United might look at him. There's pundits in England who are saying United should go and get him. The reason we're not going to get him is because he's on bail until the 8th of June. And this is something that I've had to go and find out. So he was in... Look, we've got a player ourselves who's in this situation, so we're not going to talk about, you know, the investigations or anything like that. But he was... So Mason Greenwood obviously got arrested at the end of January, wasn't it? And he's on bail. BISSOUMA got arrested, I think, a few months before that. There was talk about him not going to the African Nations Cup, but he did. The bail restrictions were not for there. It got extended till April, and now it's been extended till June. So United are not going to go anywhere near him until that case is dropped, or maybe they won't go near him anyway. And I can sort of understand it, to be honest. And I know people won't like it because we just want to judge people on football. But what United cannot afford to do is recruit players that have bad character. This is something that Sir Alex Ferguson used to be really good at. Now, I'm not saying for 1 minute that BISSOUMA's got bad character. I don't know anything about him. But United are probably right to not be looking at that transfer when he's on police bail and he's been on police bail for a number of months. Because until that comes to its conclusion, what are you supposed to do? So that is probably why United aren't ever really seriously linked to him. It doesn't mean we won't be. If that case was dropped, not, then there's no reason why we wouldn't be. But maybe Man United are just a little bit wary because they're in that position themselves with a player that they don't want to start looking at that sort of a potential issue. So it took a bit of digging to find that, but yeah, you know where I find it? Brighton local newspaper. Yeah, I think we all knew that he'd been arrested, and I think we all knew that something had happened in January, but it hasn't been finalised. The bail got extended till April, and then it got extended again till June. So he's still currently on police bail, investigation ongoing whilst that happens, as we know with what happens with Mason Greenwood. So realistically, I suppose that sort of closes that story on Bissouma. We can be linked to him. People can say we should go and get him. But there is actually a real life valid story there, and I can't argue with it. I can't say, why aren't United spending 50 million on Bissouma? Because actually, it's very logical why they're not at the moment. Will we go for him? I don't know. I think Manchester United's... The thing is, Arsenal have been linked to him. Aston Villa have been linked to him. And people would say, well, if they're linked to him and looking at him, why aren't we? To which I cannot answer the question because I don't work on United's recruitment. All I can do is offer up a bit of a potential explanation as to why they're not. Do I like Bissouma the footballer? Yes. You only needed to watch him last weekend, but I've seen him a few times, especially against Manchester United. He would bring exactly what United's midfield needs. Energy, tenacity, he's good on the ball, he's used to playing in the Premier League, and he's also used to playing in a team that's confident and plays out the back and press as well. So I would like him as a player, but obviously there's a situation there that needs to be resolved. I'd prefer Caicedo, says Ivan. And do you think we should keep Martial? Think he could have a redemption season next year up front with Ronaldo or maybe with a new striker, says Lewis Clark. Martial's an interesting one, Lewis, because we do need to generate funds. For me, the best way to... If we've got a transfer budget of 125 million, which I think we have, that's not enough. We need to get that up to 175, because with 175 you can buy 4 or 5 players. Certainly 4. So 125, it's a bit tight. You spend 80 million on Nunez, you've only got 45 million left. So we need to generate some funds, and we can't generate funds from Pogba or Lingard or Cavani or Mata or Matic because they're going for free. You're not going to get many funds from Phil Jones. You're not going to maybe get 10 million off Eric Bailly. Where else are you going to generate this money? I think Martial and Henderson are the two that they actually have some value. Maybe get 25 million for Henderson. Maybe get 30 million for Martial. 55 million there. On top of your 125, you've got your 175. So I think Martial may be a player that we need to move on, because I think it's... How many times do you want to go around the cycle with Martial? Yes, he can be very good, but also he can go very, very cold as well. So, yeah, I think he might be a player that we need to move on. Bale on a free on a pay-as-you-play, says Manchester United. Well, yeah, Bale's interesting, but I've not heard any links to Gareth Bale, and also I think Gareth Bale would be a player that... You're just doing a Cavani again, aren't you? You really are. I want to talk about Conrad Lemar because there's an update, but I also just want to talk about that. That's a good point from Manchester United. So what I wanted to say is that in relation to free signings, we've got a strong interest, is all I can say at the moment. A strong interest in Kieran McKenna. Why is that name just come into my head? We've got a strong interest in Christian Eriksen. Don't even sound the same. So Christian Eriksen is a player that we're really interested in and we are pursuing. And I think that United... there you go. It's worked. I've just gifted 10 United Stand memberships. It's worked. I didn't know it. That's why I carried on talking. So Moras got one. We'll be doing more of this over the coming weeks, but Kirk Cocaine got one. Camilla got one. So 10 have just been gifted out there at random. It's randomly done. Welcome to the Members Club. If you are now a member, you will get a badge next to your name, and you can also go to the community tab, vote on the next video, and you get access to our weekly exclusive video where we dive deep into stats, which I'm going to give you a glimpse of in a minute when I talk about Leimer. So welcome to them. The next time we're going to do another one on Friday. So anyway, Manchester United are really interested in Christian Eriksen. Ten Hag really likes him. He was training with Ajax before he went to Brentford. He's obviously Premier League well proven. He's a very good footballer. he's seen as the perfect replacement for Wan-Bissaka, who can come into the squad with experience, maturity, and also he's 4 years younger than Mata, so he can actually offer something week in, week out as a first-team player. So Manchester United are really interested in Christian Eriksen, and they want to be part of the process of, look, here's an offer. I wouldn't say they're busting a gut to get him, but they are very interested in him. I don't think they'll cry if they don't get him, but if Eriksen wants to come to Manchester United, there's an offer there for him to come. So it's interesting with Eriksen. If you'd said this to me a year ago, I would have said absolutely not. He's not the profile of player that we need, because age profile, we've already got Bruno and Donny. We don't need him. But football changes really quickly, doesn't it? We are not in the Champions League anymore. We're potentially going to be in the Europa League or the Conference League, and we need to rebuild. And a player like Christian Eriksen becomes really important in a rebuild. Look at what Wan-Bissaka did against Brentford. But Wan-Bissaka's got to go. He's 34. So Eriksen coming in, working with some of the younger players, being a senior pro, I would do it on a free transfer. I wouldn't pay money for him, but I'd do it on a free transfer. Where he's going to go, I don't know. Leicester have been mentioned. Spurs have been mentioned. I was told that he's very unlikely to go back to Spurs. Yes, he had a good time there, but you only get one career. And obviously Christian Eriksen had that very serious incident in the Euros last summer, which obviously ended his stay with Inter. So I think he wants to just enjoy his football. And I think going back to Spurs, it's like, why go back? So Eriksen, Manchester United may well happen. We'll have to see. If Ronnie ends up staying, the amount of respect I have for him will be a whole other level, says Simran. Love you, Mark. Love the United stand, says MUKIELE Roach. Thank you. Hey, Mark, it's me, the guy from Papua New Guinea. Love you, Mark. You really make my day. Thank you, Hamish. Thank you very much. And he says he loves the community as well, which I think we all do. So thank you very much. And fair play to our 10 new members. We will be gifting out some more as things. Jim Ratcliffe news, Mark. Load of bollocks. I feel really sad that people have put it out there to try and get clicks and retweets, because it's not a story. It's just not a story. So Jim Ratcliffe tried to buy Chelsea. He's a Manchester United fan. I could have done this story 3 weeks ago, 3 years ago, tomorrow. There's nothing today that's any different to 3 weeks ago or whatever with Sir Jim Ratcliffe or the Glazers. They're not for sale. He said it himself. But people are trying to build a momentum thing here. There is no story around it. There isn't. There's no momentum. There's no hints. There's nothing. And more importantly, the Glazers have got their feet well and truly under the table. We've got an FA Youth Cup final today where the stand's going to be the crowd. Old Trafford's going to be full. Massive popularity. We've got a new manager coming in. Massive popularity. The Glazers aren't looking to sell. The money is rolling in. They're not looking to sell. So, there's no story there. Where there is a story, and I want to talk about it, is I want to talk about Conrad Lemar. Now, this was something I wanted to talk about anyway, because I think United are going to buy a Leipzig player. I'd like it to be Nkunku. And there's a couple of others I quite like, but I really like Conrad Lemar. And the brilliance about this is, I said on the morning show, I'm just going to do a little bit of a 5-10 minute section on Leimer for you. Just to show you what we do on the members section as exclusive content. Remember, it's only extra content. You still get your normal content for free on here, but it's a bit of a deep dive. And basically, Sport Build are saying that Manchester United and Bayern are in for Conrad Lemar. Now, I'd heard that United were quite far down the list, so I'm not going to get too excited. But I don't think a lot of people know a lot about Conrad Lemar. Bit like we were speaking about MUKIELE then. He's a right back who plays for Leipzig, so let's buy him. But nobody's really watched him. And actually, he's not had a very good season. And he's not a massive upgrade on what we've got. So I would steer clear of that, even though it's a bargain. What will be your foremost ideal signings this summer, says Lady. I'll come back to that. Welcome to the Members Club, Callum. Thank you very much for joining. So, Conrad Lemar, been linked to Manchester United. What's he all about? Well, let's compare him to Fred. Let's compare him to Pogba, who I would describe as more box-to-box midfielders. So Conrad Lemar at Leipzig plays in a 2. He doesn't play as the more defensive one. He is an aggressive presser of the ball. His energy levels are absolutely fantastic. He's 24, Fred's 29. So age profile straight away, you'd look at that. Now, the interesting thing is, and I'll start on a bit of a negative, is that his passing is not actually a big part of his game. I think it can be. I think if you're going to play for Leipzig, whether it's under Nagelsmann or back to the Rangnick years or whatever, the high press and the movement of the ball is really, really important. But actually, over the current season, Leimer has averaged 46 passes per game, Pogba 55 and Fred 52. So look, not as many, and McTominay averages 41 in the CDM role. But where I think that really you get the best out of Conrad Lemar, and I'm not deep diving here, I'm just giving you some sort of headlines. So his passing isn't terrible, but it's not his standout trait. But where I really think that Conrad Lemar stands out is his energy, his ability to press. I'll talk about some of his defensive things in a minute. But progressive runs per 90. So how is this stat? I use Y-Scout. So how do they class what a progressive run is? So a progressive run is on Y-Scout is this. It is 30. You run with the ball 30 meters in your own half. That's classed as a progressive run. 15 meters if it's from your own half into the opposition half, or 10 meters in the opposition half. So to be classed as a progressive run, you've got to do one of those things. 30 meters from your own half, the ball stays in your own half. So you basically dribble. Imagine Wan-Bissaka runs forward 30 meters with the ball in his own half. That's a progressive run. If he went 15 meters, starting in his own half into the opposition half, that's a progressive run. If he's in their half and he runs 10 meters, that's a progressive run. Obviously, it's 30 meters in your own half because you might not. You might get it off the hair and no one's in front of you, so you run 30 metres. It's 10 metres in the attacking half because you expect more pressure. So hopefully that makes sense, because Conrad Lemar averages 2.25 progressive runs per game. Fred averages 0.5. So 2.25 progressive runs per game for Leimer, 0.5 for Fred, 1.3 for Pogba. So this is a massive part of Leimer's game. The ability to run with and without the ball. He's a high intensity, aggressive press player, which is what United need to bring. Passing, not so much massively part of his game. I mean, he can do it, but it's not what he's all about. He's about that high intensity energy, movement of the ball quickly, and then the defensive side of the game, this is where he is impressive. He's not a CDM. He's more of a midfield 2 player. But successful defensive actions per game, 10.3, Fred 10.5, Pogba 6.7. Defensive duels per 90, 11.4, Fred 9, Pogba 6. So he is, in essence, and that's just a very shallow sort of look at the things that we talk about on the members section when we deep dive into players, is he would, and again, like MUKIELE, he has got 1 year left on his contract. 1 year left on his contract. He's 24. He's Austrian. This is the deal, I think. If you're looking for a bargain, this is the player I would go for, because MUKIELE doesn't actually fit the profile of an attacking fullback. Both the same age, 24, but Leimer offers something we don't have. Ability to get on the ball and carry it. He's brilliant at that. Ability to go and get the ball, and also totally understands how to play in a pressing system with a high line. So I like this player. He's becoming low key more and more my sort of, I wouldn't say my obsession. I wouldn't put him in the same way that I'd had it with Bruno and Sancho, but he is becoming that signing that is the sort of signing we've got to make. Look, Dan, welcome to the Members Club. I'm not saying that if we were challenging for a title, I'd be saying go and get Conrad Lemar. It's sort of where we're at. We need to get as much value as we can from our transfer budget, however much it is. And we also need to bring in players that are going to make us better. So if you have a transfer budget of £125 million and you spend 20 of it on Conrad Lemar, you've still got £100 million and you've got one of your midfielders in. So I really like it, and the problem is Bayern Munich. And Bayern Munich might be a problem for United this summer. I mentioned about Timber last week. They are very, very keen to get hold of him, and they don't need to be as respectful as we do to Ajax, because of obviously we've took their manager. And Bayern Munich are always a problem when it comes to hoovering up a talent in the Bundesliga. So look, Leimer, if he's offered Bayern and Man United, he's probably going to go for Bayern, and that's a problem. But that's a problem we're going to have this summer. Can we win them? But I would really, really, really like him. Leslie says you can't get 3 or 4 players with 125 million. No, you can't, which is why I think we're going to have to sell Martial and Henderson to bump that up to 170. If we've got 175 million, which is 125 plus another 50 that we get from selling players, if we've got 175 million, you get Leimer, you've still got 150 million pounds left, which means you can get a centre-back, a striker and a midfielder. 50 million each. All right, add 20 on for Lemar, get 2 40 million pound centre-backs and midfielder. You can do it. You can do it. But yeah, we will see what happens with that. But the power has shifted. Please do smash a like on the video, by the way. The power has shifted. And also, can I just say, I don't normally say this because people will tune in anyway, but tonight at 7 we're live. We're going to do an FA Youth Cup final. It's Manchester United in a packed out Old Trafford against Nottingham Forest in the FA Youth Cup. Ajax are kicking off at the same time, so it's going to be hopefully it's going to be a really nice evening, which we haven't really had for a long time. And we'll also be talking about all the latest transfer news as well. Is Ten Hag going to want Kane this summer? No, I don't think so. So that's COYS. I'd be interested. I mean, look, maybe, but Harry Kane. Where does Harry Kane go this summer? Thomas, welcome to the Members Club. I wouldn't completely rule out Harry Kane coming to United, but that would be all of our budget on a striker. The only way I see it happening is if Ronaldo leaves and United think, let's go and do something stupid. Because Harry Kane's 29 as well. I think Harry Kane or Nunez, Harry Kane's way better. 29 versus 22-year-old Nunez. Can you improve him to get closer to Kane? Maybe you can. Maybe you can. I am on Twitch at 3, Chikorito, yes. But the power has definitely shifted. I did want to just say this very quickly. The power has shifted. Erling Haaland has just gone to Manchester City. Manchester United were not even in the running. When Erling Haaland went to Dortmund, Ollie was sat there with a grin on his face the week before. He'd flown over to Salzburg. He thought he was getting him, and he didn't. Man United were always very, very closely linked to Erling Haaland. Even Ralf Rangnick's got a good relationship with Haaland because of his time at Salzburg. We were never in the running for Erling Haaland. That's a real thing that United fans need to take on board and accept. A year ago, Erling Haaland would have been a player we would have been competing for. A year later, we can't even get him on the phone. We're just not worthy of that transfer race. We'd be laughed at. We can't offer him anything. No title race, no Champions League football. That's how hard this season has hit. We are not a power player on big transfers anymore. We can't step into the Declan Rice race if Chelsea want him. We can't step into the Erling Haaland race when Man City and Real Madrid want him. We can't step into any Mbappe race even if we wanted to. We're a laughingstock in that sense. That's how far United have fallen. And I don't sit here saying that happily or anything, but I say it realistically. It's disgusting how far we have fallen. And we talk about the owners, we talk about the board, we talk about previous managers, we talk about the current playing squad. They've all got to take responsibility. They've put us in this position. We are now a small club when it comes to recruitment. We are. We can't compete. We can't compete. And wasn't it Ed Woodward who said a few years ago, so, he came out with some silly line about we can do special things or something like that. We can't. We can't. It was a joke. And we are a joke. And that's why I think signings like Conrad Lemar are going to be the solution to the way back. We're Manchester United. We've got an amazing fan base. We've got an amazing history. And we've got an amazing name. But if you take that Man United name away, we're really Aston Villa, Everton. We're not a big club at the moment in relation to top 4 title contenders, Champions League. We've got to do, as I said this morning, what Arsenal have done. We've got to solidify and build. And we can't solidify and build by chucking money at one player. That's not the way. We've got to build a team. And for me, it would be a massive mistake to... actually, I would say this as well. Sometimes you've got to wear the clothes that fit you. And even if Erling Haaland wanted to come United, I'd have said no, go Man City. Because we're not spending whatever the package is for Erling Haaland, well over £100 million altogether. I know the release clause was 65, but there's loads of hidden payments going all over the place there. That we can't afford. Erling Haaland would be a terrible signing for United. World class, but we one player ain't going to sort it for us. It's like someone coming round and saying, I've bought the best birthday candles ever. We haven't even got a birthday cake. Well, what am I going to stick them in and blow them out? They cost me loads. And that's the problem. United need to build that cake. Layers. The club are set to appoint a head of recruitment analyst, Mark. Send them your head-to-head analysis. We need specialists, says Dan. Well, I'd be very happy to help the club out. Very happy to help the club out. Always would be happy to help the club out. I won't expect any calls. I want players who want to prove themselves, says Matthew McNulty. But if you take the time and you do your research, always going to be your own opinion, but telling you, Leimer's exactly what we need. It's whether we can get that deal done. I really would like him. I'm not going to pretend he can pass the ball like Carrick. That's not his game. But his ability to play in a high press, his tenacity, his aggression, his ability to carry the ball, he knows his role in a midfield too. And I keep saying this, we're obsessed with a holding midfielder. We maybe don't need a holding midfielder. Maybe we play with a midfield too, who share the role. You know, it could work. People won't like it, but football 10 years ago was very different to what it is now. Maybe United's path forward is to evolve into a different way of playing. Yes, Rodri sits there for Man City. Yes, Fabinho does it for Liverpool. But maybe we play with a two. Maybe we have two midfielders, one on the right, one on the left, who can both do the same job. And one goes forward and one sits. And the other goes forward and the other one sits. And they combine that role and they press aggressively. And then maybe you supplement them with a couple of players who can do that as well. Maybe. Hi Mark, any reason why we shouldn't go for Tavernier from Rangers, says Scott? I mean, I'm looking forward to watching the Europa League final next week. I haven't really watched much of Rangers, but yeah, look, there's some good players at Rangers and I can only say respect. To get to the final, to knock out Leipzig, to knock out Dortmund. Look, we've bought players from Dortmund. We want players from Leipzig. Lots of people have bought players from Dortmund and Leipzig. They're good teams and they've been knocked out by Rangers. So fair play to Rangers. And why shouldn't some of their players be coming south of the border? I mean, my perception of Scottish football is it's not that good. I would say Rangers and Celtic are lower Premier League teams, high Championship level teams. Well, I'd have to redress that and say I'm wrong. They're in the Europa League final. I think Rangers would absolutely do fine in the Premier League. Of course, thank you very well. Welcome to the Members Club. Look, big shout out to our new members. I know I gifted 10 of them. We will be doing that again in the future. If you want to check out the community page, if you're a member, you can vote for our next video. We've also got all the exclusive videos you can watch there, where we deep dive a lot more than I did with Lemar there. In fact, I probably will do a video, if it gets voted, on Conrad Lemar more deeper. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Remember, tonight we're live at 7 o'clock. Manchester United Youth Cup final. It's going to be massive. Ajax's last game of the season. It's going to be an eventful evening. Make sure you tune in from 7. And I'm playing Twitch in about 15-20 minutes. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Oh, and finally, don't forget Manscaped. 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Trim the grass to make the... Nearly did then. It came on. Trim the grass to make... I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need to clear this up. I am wearing jeans. It wouldn't work. You have to take your jeans and your pants off. 20% off. Free worldwide shipping. Fantastic products. I would say if you are a man, because it is Manscaped, do give it a try. It makes a big difference. And this is for your nose as well if you're of a certain age. Performance package. Check it out. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for watching.